Boy, never a dull moment with audio. So I figured out that I can use the sonogram on an EQ. It took me all these years to put two and two together, so that I can literally just go right into whatever is peaking in the sonogram display of whatever processor, dynamics processor, and literally just right on top of it, I can carve out the elements as I see they're peaking. So that's one thing. But another thing I happen to think of is I hallucinated that the bottom half of this was the affected version and the top half was the pre-processed version. So that led me to the thought of, why don't they could make something like that, but it would have to have like a duplicate view. And so why don't they do that like within one plugin? Maybe they do already, I just can't keep up anymore. But so where here I have the input and then my processing, and then I have the output signal. So you can see like the simultaneous track and how the sound is affected using the analyzer. So we see the red over here, and then we see nothing over here. And that red is obviously the peak. So that's why I did that like that. But anyways, it's funny that I just happened to realize that I could use the sonogram display in the EQ itself so that I don't have to guess, because it also has the feature where you can kind of go in with the mouse and dial it in. Now the next part of this is to figure out a way to link those EQ peak notch filters, those EQ peak filters to a dynamic process that can follow the peak, so that as the resonance shifts a little bit as the track progresses, these little Q peaks will follow that around in theory. And I know that there's several plugins there called resonance suppression technologies, but they're not very popular. And I don't know why, because it's very important. It's like if your music is distorted, then that's important. And if your music also has resonance, that's also super important. But resonance is a lot more difficult to tackle. However, at the same time, you get a lot more bang for your buck with resonance removal, because you're not just lowering the volume of something, you're getting more overhead. So you're sort of using the peak filters to carve out more overhead. So that's important to consider that when you're mastering a track, like for every little ounce of important optimized volume output. So anyways, there's an idea, but also a discovery, to have these dueling displays within the meter, the analyzers, especially the sonogram, so that you can see your movements in action. In other words, if I go with the peak filter and I go like over here a little bit too much, and then I come look over here and see what did I do, and I can see nothing at all, then I would know I need to just recalibrate that a little bit, because the harmonics can kind of jump around a little bit to give a deceptive perspective. And another weird thing I just noticed is, because I accidentally applied an additional filter on this that was not a peak filter, it was a shelving filter, and it created like a Z-plane, so that this was super low and this was super high right above it. And I thought that's a cool effect as well, because it sort of overcompensates in a designated area, so that as you're scooping out the resonance, it adds a sort of pseudo effect of amplification of those sounds that you thought you wanted, but you didn't necessarily want them, but you wanted, let's say, the thump or something to that effect. So it almost intensifies the actual thing you were trying to get, but it actually removes the harmful aspects of it, when treated very delicately. So there's just some ideas there and some thoughts and some discoveries about resonance suppression as a engineering thing with audio and mastering and things.